Are you ready?
I am ready. As ready as I'll ever be.
Ready to rock.
Sorry?
What?
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 I can't hear you for all the rock music.
Hey,
It's all the potential rock music.
we've acquired some stuff.
Stuff is a good word for stuff.
We've acquired some stuff.
It's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. I bet you £100 that Will's shoulders and arms are going to be so sore today.
I bet you they're not, because he's a kid, and kids have resilience.
I don't know. He gave it quite a lot of energy last
You
night.
give it loudy, as they say.
Oh, absolutely. That was so much loudy. I have not seen so much loudy out of him
Ever.
Well, for a long time anyway.
You know what? When he was...
Because you know how he sometimes just does things like half-heartedly, unless he's actually playing some extremely cool game. He sort of just does things like, like with his left pinky finger type thing. Like, oh, I could do 3 more things while doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday it was all out. That was cool.
I think that I suffered yesterday because the kids were so hyperactive for almost all the second half of the day. That it melted my brain.
They were extremely hyper. Yeah, I should have done some work last night, and I couldn't because I thought unless I go to bed and put them to bed at the same time, they're not going to go to sleep, and they're just going to be jumping up and down for another 2 hours. If I sit down on the sofa and start working, I'm going to have them on top of my head for the next 2 hours. So I just gave in.
Well, with Will's fidgeting, it was always a potential that a drum kit would fit into his...
The drumming was like a large fidget session for him, wasn't it? It was like fidgeting on a large scale.
It was like legalized fidgeting. I don't know how to call it.
Yep, absolutely.
Rationalized and sanitized.
It was channeled.
Channeled.
It was channeled fidgeting on a large scale.
On all channels.
You just got him a fidget toy, basically. You got him a big fidget toy. That makes a lot of noise. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, I think we should clarify that G got on Facebook Marketplace yesterday and found an Xbox for a very good price with lots and lots of bits and pieces going with it. And one of those bits and pieces is a drum kit, right? And we had Will drumming away for like 2 hours last night, right? He's drumming away forever. I thought my head would explode. The best part was that it wasn't even connected to the Xbox. He had AC/DC coming out of the speakers, and he was just drumming away. Didn't care. It all sounded the same. He was just whacking the bloody thing. And he was happy that he can whack something. It was good fun. You're right there.
No, I lost it already.
I see.
It didn't occur to me that every pad sounds the same when it's not plugged in.
Yeah. Every pad sounded the same. He didn't give a damn. He was just whacking it. He was so happy as well. Mom, my hands are so sweaty. Look, do you want to touch them? Oh, God. But imagine the fun he's going to have once you actually plug it in.
If it works.
I mean,
it's all second-hand stuff, so you never know. Right?
If he hadn't whacked the hell out of it yet. It should work, though. And I got 3 guitars, so three Xbox guitars. So Jasmine was rock and rolling with the guitar,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
she was showing me how to play it. She said, "Mom, you're supposed to bend this little stick here, see? And it's supposed to touch here." And I'm like, "You're gonna break it!" And she said, "No, it's supposed to be like this." But I'm not 100% sure that I trust Jasmine. She is 3 after all. 4.
4.
4 today.
4 today.
She's 4 today.
4
You're
today.
4 today, Jasmine.
4 today. She's fast asleep with a cable.
With a cable on her head.
There you go.
Yep, there we go.
Mm.
It's funny how she managed to sleep quite well in her own bed for the last week. But the one morning that we do the recording, she decided to climb in the bed.
Well,
Is that
one of
funny?
them would have been here anyway, so
Yeah.
that's the way that it works out.
Hey, I'm gonna have to go and wrap some prezzies.
What more than the drum kit, the 3 guitars, the microphone, and the whole Xbox?
Well, I'm not going to wrap that. It's a great prezzy for Jasmine's birthday, though, isn't it?
I don't know. I gotta get some batteries for those guitars because apparently you have to put batteries in the back of
Oh
them.
no! Oh,
Yeah.
those battery-powered thingies.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
that sucks, doesn't it?
That does suck.
Well, it's all new for me, so I've never gone down the game box, whatever you call it, path before. I've
Uh-huh.
always gone through the computer to do everything path.
Yeah.
And I guess what people are paying for is simplicity. You turn it on and you stick it in a disc and
Simplicity.
it all
I
works.
was looking at you setting it up yesterday, and I was thinking, oh my god, I'm for once glad to have a man in the house, because I couldn't be bothered doing all this shit. You know, you're setting up the kinetic, whatever you call it, that thing that watches your body move. And
Well,
and you were setting up the sound and everything, and it's like, oh my god, I just hate that stuff.
okay, yeah, but that perspective, it's no different from cooking, right? When you're cooking, you kind of get ingredients together and you're not quite sure what the outcome is going to be, and you experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's no different with
I do.
technical stuff. It's like, okay, well, this must go here, and I got no. When you start, you've got no idea what the result is going to be.
I
So-
hope, which reminds me, I hope the cake is alright in the fridge. I hope it didn't go all blech.
Well, you'll find out. So
I will. It should be fine. Sorry,
all I ate was cake yesterday in the evening.
it's good for you.
No, I'm sure it's not, but anyway, there you go.
I'm on my bloody diet.
What?
I'm on my diet and
What?
I won't be able to eat cake today. But
Oh.
I'm really happy because we're having bacon for breakfast.
What?
Oh, bacon for breakfast. I was
Sunday,
eyeing.
I'm fasting.
I was
It's
eyeing
not
the.
fair.
You fasting, are you? Well, so you see, I was considering fasting today, but I thought
Bacon
haven't really-
sandwiches. Can't fast.
No.
That was difficult.
I thought I wasn't really eating much yesterday and before yesterday. Both days, my main meal consisted of a milkshake and
Yes, you can drink your food now.
tiny salad with one piece of
salad,
cheese.
Salad is tiny anyway.
Well, not which usually when I have a salad, I have like a huge bowl of salad, right? And yesterday was a tiny salad with.
Why does that ring in my head as tiny salad, pinch your palate, blue and grey? That's weird.
Wow!
I know. I
Did you just
swear.
like a song?
No, it's
Pinch
there's a
your
song,
what?
Starry Night, paint your palette blue and grey, something.
Oh,
I'm sure it's a famous song.
tiny
Maybe I'm sure I've
salad
got-
sounds good with it. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was
that's
very.
weird.
It was
Sorry, that
tiny.
really
It was like
weird.
tiny
Sorry.
salad and one piece of cheese, and I had like 3 meat sticks and 2 cheese sticks and that's
Food
it.
was screwed yesterday. Before I had the cake, I had 2 oat cakes with cheese on them.
Yeah, food was terrible yesterday. I
that was
couldn't eat
really bad.
anything. I couldn't eat anything because for lunch we had pumpkin stir fry with rice, which is all carbs. Because she adds the corn flour.
She adds carbs to carbs.
Yeah, no, yes. When she does the meat, she could just do the meat, you know.
Meat would be enough.
Yes, I know, but she adds corn flour to it, which immediately adds like 100 million carbs to something that was originally good and healthy, which is completely unnecessary, but okay.
Dear.
So it's like, I just looked at the pan and I was like, what a waste of good meat, which is a bit mean.
Yeah, I get
Because
what you mean, though. I mean,
it
the meat's
tastes really
enough, right?
nice. It tastes nice, right? But it doesn't need the carbs. I would just be so happy to eat it without the carbs because all the veg that comes with it is all right. She had
I'd be happy with just the
broccoli and
vegetables.
cauliflower and carrots and
I
stuff.
need
and
to
that's
go back
great.
to a vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling bleh, as you would say.
Yeah?
Bleh.
Did you feel healthier with a vegetarian
I
diet?
felt much healthier.
I feel really good with my keto diet, which is like the opposite.
I need to go back to the vegetables and the fruit and stuff and not eat anything else. I just feel cleaner
Okay.
when I'm eating all that
I
stuff.
know what you mean.
And it's a clarity of thought is also important, and all
You
as,
see, my
as fresh as
my
fresh
keto
can
diet
be.
gives me all that.
No, that's cool, and I understand having the spectrum of stuff. I just
Yeah.
um,
It's
I'm
funny
trying
that
to listen to my body.
everybody something. How do you say it? It's funny that
What?
something else, that different things work for different people. That's what I'm trying to say. Whew, that was hard.
Well, I think it's all environmental. So I think that your body, when you're young, adapts to the environment that it's in, and you sort of struggle to manage that the rest of your life because people will travel around to different places, and their body will try to get used to whatever is there, but you can't shake the construct of what you've been training your body to do for most of your life. So it is possible to change, but it takes a lot of time.
Well,
Yeah.
change is hard. I mean, look at my system. I've been running on carbs my entire life. Yeah. And when I changed to no carbs, and then it was like that for 3 weeks, and then I had 1 week in which I went back to carbs, and I felt horrible. It was last week when I slept twice a day. I had naps twice a day, and I woke up every morning with a headache, which now I think that comes from the pillow rather than the food, but still.
These pillows are designed to keep you awake as far
I
as I
felt
can
like
work out.
shit. I mean, your pillows are the better pillows. My pillow is the freaking rock hard pillow that's, I don't know. It's probably for a hunchback or something, because it's so thick and hard that it like bends your neck 90 degrees when you're sleeping, right? It's horrible. I have to
Yeah,
exchange
the
it.
head should kind of sink into the pillow, and it doesn't at
Yeah,
all.
the head should be under normal. The neck should be like straight, right? Not bent upwards.
You don't even need like a huge pillow. You just need something to support the head a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the
I hate
neck or
huge pillows.
whatever.
I've always hated huge pillows. I don't understand, and I'm whacking myself over the head internally for not going upstairs and changing this pillow for one of the more normal pillows that are upstairs. Because I should have done that ages ago.
We should have both done that ages ago.
It just didn't occur to me. It's like the most basic thing, right? You wake up, find out you've got a headache, go upstairs, swap the pillows. Takes you 1.5 minutes. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna do it when we finish doing this.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because this is a fucking nightmare. Excuse my French. Almost as much nightmare as these bloody earphones, whatever they are.
You've just got funny ears.
I've never, ever, ever, ever ever,
Ever?
ever,
Ever? Really?
wore headphones that were so painful.
It's your ears.
Yes, it's possible. I know I've got funny ears.
It's your head, maybe, as well.
Well, what else is it? Go on then. Is it my bum?
No.
Is it
no,
my
I
genetic
imagine
makeup?
It's not. Oh, that does affect the shape of your ears.
I'm reading a book. It's quite interesting. I thought it was pretty rubbish when I started because it had a slow start.
Is it Stephen King?
No,
Mm.
because I thought I'd shake it up a little.
What?
It's not Stephen King. It's The Time Traveler's Daughter. No, Time
What?
Traveler's Wife
What?
by I can't see. By Audrey.
Hepburn?
No, weird name. Wait. By Audrey Niffenegger.
Did you just make that up?
By Audrey Niffenegger.
Nifnigger. That is actually her name.
Yeah.
That's not funny. Don't laugh. It's
I
just
know,
a
and I
silly name.
thought it was a bit soppy and just boring at the beginning, but it's actually interesting.
Is it about time travel?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's
It's
about
like sci-fi.
it's about a guy. No, not really. It's more like
Well-
psychological.
Yeah, but time travel is sci-fi.
Well, no, not this one because
What?
it's not a machine that makes you time travel. It's about a guy. He's got a genetic disease or whatever you call it.
Oh, this is a weird story. I
And
can tell.
it's like epilepsy, right? Only he time travels, and he can't control it.
What do you mean it's like epilepsy, but he time travels?
Well, it's you know
you have like
how
a fit and then you wake
Yeah.
up somewhere else.
yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like, well, you know how people who have epilepsy will shake and have the convulsions and stuff. He doesn't have convulsions. He just time travels, and he can't control it. So he just disappears and appears somewhere else for like a couple of hours or sometimes a day or two, and then he goes back to his own time. And he visits his childhood and he visits his own
Mm-hmm.
childhood self, and sometimes he goes to the future and he sees the future and stuff.
Isn't that freaky?
Sorry?
Isn't that freaky? How do they deal
It's
with
extremely freaky because he can't.
how do they deal with the change your future kind
Well,
of thing?
they say that you can't. The
What?
book says that you can't.
What? That,
You can't change your future.
what? But obviously, if you're affecting the past, it's inevitable. No?
Well, the thing is that when he thinks that he's going to change the future,
Mm-hmm.
so he affects the past, he actually makes the future happen.
So it doesn't matter what you do, nothing changes.
Yeah, it's a fatalist approach, basically. Anyway, what's interesting is that he can't take anything with him when he time travels, so he always leaves his clothes behind. So when he time travels, he just disappears, leaves his clothes behind, and appears somewhere else naked. So he has to he has to acquire clothes, and he has to steal so that he can survive, because sometimes he can get stuck for a few days in the past.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. You know, how come people manage to keep the same clothes when they time travel in all those other films?
Yeah, I know.
No one really
But
thinks
that's
about
because they time travel through an external device. I mean, if you jump in something, in a machine or something, then it's going to transfer you and the clothes.
okay.
But him, he's traveling from the inside because it's his genetic makeup in his body that's making him time travel, right? So he leaves the clothes. But the problem was that he always left like the tooth fillings behind and stuff. So he had to have his teeth pulled out rather than fixed.
That's nice.
It's quite interesting. Seriously, it is.
Sounds like a really bizarre topic.
It's a really bizarre topic.
Why did you choose that?
Well, it was on a display in the library, and I was looking for something other than Stephen King, and it caught my eye. It just caught my eye, and I thought, I think I heard about that book somewhere. Or maybe I saw it mentioned somewhere, so I grabbed it. It is very bizarre. I like the way that they're dealing with the problem. It's like the writer created the problem
Mhm.
and then just let that lead the story, you know? Just thought, well, what would happen if there was a guy like this? And then
Mhm.
he just made up the entire life of the guy, basically.
Is that author like sold enough books to have a lifestyle based
Uh,
on their writing?
I don't know. I haven't
Because
researched
I
the
always
author.
wonder about that. You know, whether it's possible to survive like that.
I think it is, but you have to be a best-selling author and you have to sell more than just one book. You
Mhm.
know, you can't. I think it's just like any other job. I mean, you have to keep going. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that once you have good outcome with one book, you're more likely to be able to keep on going and selling more books, because I imagine that your publishing house is more likely to surf on your name, if you know what I mean. Give you good promotion and blah blah blah, yada yada
Well,
yada.
it's you're building, aren't you?
Yeah, build your brand.
Yes, exactly. You build your brand for the future.
So yeah, it's an interesting book, and it's actually quite well written. I don't usually like the first person, writing,
Mm-hmm.
but this one is actually quite well written, because I think that writing in first person requires a lot of skill not to make it sound annoying and egocentric. But this is alright. It's alright.
Yeah, I get that. You don't want it to sound like this is what I want to tell you.
Me, like the freaking 50 Shades of Grey. Oh my god, that was such an annoying book.
Why did you read that?
Because everybody read it and I wanted to know whether it was any good or not, but it was terrible.
Of course it was terrible.
It was just annoying. The person, it's like, I was reading it and I was like, I hate this person. You know, the main character? It's like, oh my god, she's so whiny and egocentric and just gets generally on my nerves. I'm like this and I'm like that and look at me. And there's, ugh.
Yeah, well, it was obvious it was not going to be a great piece of literature. The way in which it was marketed and pumped out.
I don't know. I don't understand why it was so popular. Probably just the sex part. It's probably just popular because of the sex fantasies. That was all.
It's. I think anyway, it was. It was because the agenda at the time was related to those topics.
I thought it was terribly written, and I thought the idea conveyed in it was terrible as well. But it's so stupid. It was a book glorifying abuse, basically.
It was.
It was,
I mean,
because
I haven't read
it
it, but
wasn't
I've read
about
the
the.
reviews of
It wasn't
and
even
I
about the
trust them.
BDSM part, right? I mean the abuse. I don't mean glorifying the BDSM, the abuse as the BDSM, but
Wasn't it glorifying narcissistic behavior?
it was more, yeah, basically it was more about glorifying psychological abuse and controlling behaviors. It was like, oh yeah, it's so annoying, but it's so romantic, and ooh, I actually like it. I was like, for fuck's sake, get a fucking life. And it was like, ooh, and in the end, in the third book, he changes. Oh my gosh. And everybody's happy and everybody has a happy ending because in the end he changed. And I was like, that's such a bullshit. People don't change. This is just telling women to stay in abusive relationships because one day you may change him. Oh, I really thought it was really bad book. All three of them. Badly written with bad messages. It's like, anyway, sorry for the rant.
No, it's worth ranting about because it's a popular topic and it appears to me that it's a reinvention of, what was tried a long time ago, and I can't remember which year it was, but there was a book called The Diary of O, and it was a famous underground novel at the period of time. And,
I've never heard of it.
The only reason I know about it is because I met somebody in London who had quite a big library, and it was strange that he had a big library because he was a builder, and you don't expect builders to have quite a big library. And he seemed to read quite a lot, and I saw the book on his bookshelf, and I was like, "What's that?" And he explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, not really, not really what I'm interested in." But thanks for the explanation, and he gave me a bit of the history of it, and I later.
Was it a BDSM book then?
Basically, yes.
Well,
And it was just, and it's like 50 Shades of Grey is like a sanitized version of that, just like watered down and promoted as something different. But the same things that don't work often get promoted years later in a slightly different way, and they get the promotion right, and they get the cultural aspect right, and things become sort of big hits.
Well, things like that have been written throughout the history. I mean, look at Marquis de Sade, right? Where the sadism comes from. The word sadism comes from Marquis de Sade, who wrote the books, right? Like that. And I read a part of one when I was in France, because I was living in this student's apartment. So it's a tiny, tiny little thing. And they had a tiny little bedroom, one bedroom. There was 4 of us living in it, in the apartment. And half of the bedroom was covered in books. And one of the books was something by... something original by Marquis de Sade. It was extremely...
Like 120 Days of Sodomy or something, didn't he write that? I mean, I'm just going...
I've no idea what it
memories.
was called, because I forgot, because it was all in French. And I read just a little bit of it, because it was all in French, and it was old French, so it was quite hard to understand. But it was alright. I mean, it wasn't anything terrible. It was just sex.
I think I read one of his biographies, but it was like a deep biography. It was like a really thick book going into his life and what happened to him. And I don't know why I read it. Just because it's recommended as alternative literature, I imagine. And the only thing that struck me, apart from the weirdness of everything, the other thing that struck me as anything interesting was that he was a man of letters. And that he was employed very often to write letters on behalf of people, both formal and informal, and a lot of love letters he was employed to write.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting that was an
actual job.
That was a job. That was a real job at that point in time.
Hey, I read something like that the other day when I read the Stephen King's book, and it had a murderer that was in a prison, and he was very literary gifted, and he wrote love letters from the prison for his fellow prisoners to their wives.
Yeah, it's interesting how you can find markets for things like that.
Yeah.
So there obviously are markets in certain places. I mean, that's just been reduced to gift card writing, I think, in the modern world. But I guess somebody has to write those little
notes.
Happy birthday, you're so flirty, or whatever. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
but,
those things. Yeah. The little poems on the cards and stuff.
Your time has come. It is your age. You're now under the lights on center stage. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be good at that.
Oh my God, you're so old. All the funny ones. Oh my God, look at you. You're so old.
Just like my shoes.
Just like this llama spitting beer on top of your head or something like that.
What?
I don't know.
A llama spitting beer on top of your head.
Well, they've got those funny cards type thing where they have funny faced animals doing weird shit.
I actually saw a really funny card recently, which is really odd because 99% of them are not funny at all. And it was the woman doing yoga. Did
Oh,
you see
that
that?
one, yeah, I saw that.
The way the woman's going,
Your
okay,
mother.
now relax your body. And they're all farting.
I thought it was so funny, yeah. Yeah, that one was really funny.
Because it must be really difficult if you're in a yoga class and you want to fart, because that must happen.
Yeah,
It must happen when you're doing all that stuff.
especially when you've got like yoga for pensioners, right? It's just like a yoga for pensioners.
Or you're wearing some kind of tight leotard or whatever. You can't even let one out silently because people will hear it.
Well, you can't. Especially when you're in some weird pose with your buttocks squeezed together or something.
Because you're going to try to let it out silently and it's going to sound like you're opening a can of Coke or something.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. At least when you're boxing, people can't hear it, right?
I think that's why they have the
You've got like
music
live
so loud
music,
in
yeah.
all of those places.
You've got live music, and you hear the whacking and the stomping and everything. Yeah, and there's our yoga class right after us. We've got the boxing class, and then there's people with mats start flowing in as we're coming out. And I always laugh because when we get there, nobody's been up there before us. We've got the first lesson. So when we get there, it's usually freezing cold. Yeah. And when we're leaving, all the windows are steamed up and the place is nice and warm and humid. It's like a jungle. And smelly and stinky. And I'm always thinking, yeah, it must be quite nasty to do yoga in this climate. But there you go.
Oh, well, my forever repeated opinions about yoga.
But the instructor is quite happy that it's warm when she comes. I know you think yoga is boring.
No, look, on one side I appreciate how complex and how strong you have to be to hold all those positions and how control of the body is important. On that side I respect it. But on the other side of let's spend time sitting in one position, not moving a lot, the more meditative style of yoga, I do think it's a lot of nothing. I think if you're doing the active yoga and you're constantly moving your body and you're holding yourself in different positions and you're tensing and releasing the muscles and that stuff, that has
But you are doing that.
Sometimes I still tend to think there's a lot of nothing involved for a lot of people.
It looks like a lot of nothing, but I don't know. I mean, the yoga that I'm doing is pretty slow. I don't know if you've seen me doing that yoga, right? It's usually pretty slow. Sometimes there's a slightly faster flow at the beginning to warm up, but not usually. Usually it's pretty slow. But it's not a lot of nothing, because you get into a pose and it looks like you're doing nothing, just holding the pose. But to hold the pose requires so much energy that, I'm sweating and shaking and it seriously looks like nothing, especially if you watch somebody who can do it really well. They make it look really easy.
They do make it look really easy.
It's like, you just get into this position and you hold this position and it's no problem. It's just, nothing. And then you try it yourself and you're like, fucking hell.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I've got respect for those people who get up on stages and demonstrate it, and they've got the microphone, and they have to have perfectly controlled body and breathing, and they can't make any mistakes. And
it's not just that. It's also as you said, the meditative factor of things. It's the meditative side as well. It's the awareness and the breathing and all that stuff that just makes it more relaxing. It's like when I'm jogging, my mind is going to wander, and I think of everything sometimes, and I can get quite nervous because everything just runs through your head.
A nervous jogger.
It's the way it works for me, right? I go for a walk or jogging and everything just runs through my head, and I'm thinking about everything. But when I do yoga, I kind of empty the head. You just think about not dying and holding the pose. And it's also the way that you focus on all different kinds of muscles. Like, you can hold a pose, and then you can hold the pose correctly, right? And when you're holding it correctly, you like go through the body, like in your mind, and you notice every single part of your body, and you're checking if it's correct. Like if you're in a downward dog, for example, which is like the easiest looking pose, yeah, and you have to check that your toes are rooted and that your heels are rooted in the ground, and that you've got weight on your knuckles when you're holding with your hands, and then you've got your elbows twisted inside, and that you've got your shoulders closed, and that you've got your shoulder blades pulled apart from each other, and that you've got your pelvis tilted and your stomach tightened, and it's quite complex. I mean, it looks very simple, but it's actually quite complex to do it right.
Yeah, there's a difference between doing it and doing it right, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are a lot of people who do it, but don't do it as well as they should do it.
That's why I like the application that I have for the yoga, the daily yoga app, because when they describe the position, they tell you exactly how to do it. They don't just show it to you, but they tell you what should go where. So that's what's good about it. Anyway, you should try it. You should try it sometime. You should try it once so that you can judge,
I've done it a few times.
Oh, you've done the acro yoga, haven't you?
Yeah, and I've got respect for how difficult that is. It's and difficult and fun, yet pointless, yet difficult, yet fun. I'm going to spin you round on my feet in 4 different ways and make you feel dizzy. And it's like, wow, that's really cool. Is that it?
Well, I think if it's difficult, it's not pointless, because it still exercises your body. What I find hard to do is, they always tell you in yoga that, you should only go as far as it's comfortable for you. And I struggle with that because I like to push myself when I exercise. So, like when I'm in a pose and I want to get it right, I like to push myself to the edge. And it's like, you shouldn't feel pain in a position, and you should be fairly comfortable. And, it's like, it's all slowly. It's like, if you do this often enough for 10 years, you'll get there, right? And I'm like, no, I want to push myself and I want to be there faster. So that's one thing that I struggle with when I do yoga. I don't want to not push myself.
I think the aesthetic elements of it, I appreciate. Where you get into the almost like slow dance of things.
Do you find it aesthetic? I find it ridiculous, because I'm in a pose, and I kind of notice my body, and I'm thinking, oh my god, all my fats are hanging out over there.
Well, if your fat's hanging out, it does look a bit silly. Right?
Sausages are hanging out over there, and I'm a bit flabby over here, and my leg is shaking, and this probably does not look very nice.
Well, look, I'm not making a comment about you, but okay. but I can say that ugly is not pretty. Okay, I mean.
All right.
So we've all been there.
It does look nice on Pinterest, and when people who do it for like years and years are doing it, then it does look pretty. But when I do it, it probably just looks like, I don't know, it probably just looks painful. Which it is.
It probably is painful, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. It's all shaky and wobbly and wonky and bits and pieces hanging out.
Bing, business plan. We should do a little yoga class in the village for the villagers.
That would be great, but I'm like a beginner. I don't think you can do a yoga class when you're a beginner.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the important thing is to be one step ahead. You don't need to be a lot of steps ahead, you just need to be one step ahead. And if you do it and someone is better than you, then you can upgrade or improve or ask for help or learn
Yeah, but I
something
imagine
or
that I'd have
whatever.
lots and lots of old people, like 70 years old, coming and wanting to give it a try, and I'd have no idea what to do with them.
Well,
Because
they're just coming because they want to do something.
yes,
I'm
I
not saying
understand, but
I'm
I
not saying
don't.
it's not important.
I can't imagine
saying
being able
different
to
reasons.
tailor stuff. Like I'm gonna sit there and do my mermaid pose, and they're gonna be like, "What do I do now?"
Well, no, you just have to keep it simple for them, and they're coming for the the social activity and to feel good and
Oh, I don't like that kind
the
of
bacon
stuff.
sandwiches.
Look, if it was like if I knew that there was just going to be a group of young people, everybody doing their own thing, right? I'd be alright with that. But I was thinking more like ooh, let's do a monthly meetup on the beach and do exercises with the exercises equipment there. But everybody can do their own thing. Or do something like in Lossiemouth, right? Like a run. Let's do a 5K run.
Why don't you do it
Just meet up
here
at.
then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, meet up there in XYZ place. And
All you'd have to do is meet at the car park or one of the 3 or 4 car parks in Kingston.
say something motivational, and then everybody just goes running their own.
Or you
their
meet in the
style.
car park next to the park here. There's parking spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And run.
and
And just
then
run.
jog over the hill
Yeah.
and down and round.
Yeah.
And that would take half an hour
Yeah.
and everybody would be happy.
Yeah. And you don't have to do much leading, because I'm not a leader. Because all you have to do is just, pop it onto the Utenabut and say, "Hey, would anybody like to join a running group?" And then just go for a jog. All you need to do is just think of a
The accountability is good there.
what you call a trajectory.
You're going to shoot people into the air out of big cannons.
We have to do is
That would
think
get
of
messy.
the way to go.
I can
And-
just imagine the bodies landing in the fields. And the deer being confused.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do, because I don't have because that way, I wouldn't have the responsibility for other people's injuries and stuff. Which is what I would worry about if I gave a yoga class. I wouldn't know, like, what people can and can't do, and I'd feel responsible for anything that would go wrong in the class.
Yeah, at the same time, the only way to learn is to do it, right?
Oh yeah, I don't exactly want to do that though.
Mm.
I mean, what's the point learning something that you don't really want to do?
I could do a weekly jog thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we should organize that. 'Cause it does give you accountability, and it does, kick your ass and get you out, and you can't back out once you make it regular, and you make it publicly regular.
At the same time,
Uh-huh.
It's
It's a commitment.
you can only do it for half the year
Why?
because it's too dark. The other half. You'd have to do it during the week, Monday to Friday, one evening, yeah,
Uh-huh.
for 1 hour. And
Uh-huh.
it's dark, like at 2:30 in the winter. There's no way you could run it.
3:30 it starts getting dark. 4 o'clock it's pitch
Well,
black.
you could follow the street lights, I suppose. You could stick to the roads.
Yeah, I mean, if
Follow
they
the
can do it, if they can
streetlights.
do it in Lossy every evening, including winter.
Yeah, but you forget that's
Not every
a
evening,
military
every
base. They're
every
gonna
Monday
have
evening.
they're gonna have like 4,000 military people there. At least
No,
20 of them are gonna want
no,
to.
the ladies. Oh, at least 20 of them. Sorry,
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
thought
saying.
I thought you were saying 4,000 military people running.
No, there's
No,
like
no,
at least
it's like
20 of them are
15.
wives of military personnel
Yeah.
or
Well, the girl I was
husbands of
talking
military
to,
personnel
the
that
girl I
sell me
was
around,
talking to
whatever.
said it's usually about around 15 people that meet up together.
Well, there you go. There you
Go for a jog.
go. It would be interesting for accountability. I mean, I imagine in sort of Garmouth and Kingston, you'd probably get about 5 or 6 people interested. That's a realistic number.
I'm going to talk to the girl on Tuesday, and I'm going to get more information about it from her. You know, just to find out whether there's anything special organized within the thing, just to get some info about how they do it elsewhere.
Well, I think that the accountability element is interesting. People want to do it as a group now. They don't want to do it alone.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
the
kind of a
thing is
big
that
commitment, though, and it always ends up being much more complex than people think it's going to be, right? Because it always ends up, you write it on Facebook, and then people have silly questions like, what kind of shoes should I wear? Or it's, it's raining a little bit, so people are like, no, I decided not to go out because it's raining a little bit, and it's just like you end up being everyone's encouragement and motivation and giving up eventually because people just are like, whatever, they take it for granted after a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is that if we could only do it for as long as we're here, which hopefully is not going to be too long as well. So it's like organizing something for a month or 2 months or God knows how when we'll be able to move out of here.
Yeah, but you still can't do it now because it's dark at 4:30.
Yeah, maybe it's not such a swell idea.
Well, no, it is. It's a good idea. It's just not practical. It's just not practical when it's dark, and the winter is the time that people need it more because in the summer people will be more outside, but in the winter people need to get out more. So you could, you can argue that it's I don't know.
But
Maybe
even when Ivan runs, he runs in the evening, right? Because he works all day and he's got time to go for a run at like 9 o'clock in the evening. So he's got the head
it's
thing.
a good time.
He puts the head thing on. He puts the headlight.
Headlight like
Headlight.
a helmet. Or
Yeah. He's got a headlight. He's got a headlight on a
Yeah, I
strip,
know. That's
elastic strip, and he
it's-
just
it's-
puts his headlight on and he goes for a
it's
jog.
common amongst the.
Yeah, because he
the
jogs
insane
through the
crew.
forest and stuff, so he needs a headlight.
Yeah. Why does that just not? Why is that not appealing to me?
I don't know. He's pretty committed though.
It's not appealing to me to strap on a headlight and go off into the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. It's just not appealing to me at all.
The
I think the
whole
potential for problem is too high.
the whole idea of
The risk is too high.
jogging is not appealing to me either.
If the light, if something happened to your light, you'd be screwed, and there'd be no way to reverse the problem.
he doesn't go through the forest with no paths or anything. He's still on a path, so all you have to do is just turn around and go back.
I'd get frustrated leading that kind of group because I just want to go faster.
Well, that's the
You can
thing
only go as
that
fast as
they
the
have.
slowest
They have
person.
the group is divided into subgroups, right? You get 3 beginners and 6 intermediate people and 4 advanced, and they all run together. You know, they don't all run together, but the smaller groups go together. Like the beginners go kind of running, walking, and the intermediate go like light jogging, and the advanced go faster, and they don't have to. You know, it's not like the advanced have to keep up with the slower ones or the other way around.
Could the kids do it as well? Or
They divide. Yeah,
no.
sure.
Well, you're saying yeah, sure, but have you thought about it properly?
Yes. If you have somebody who is going to be patient enough to stick with the kids, because you have to go slower and you have to take breaks and stuff, then of course.
It would be an interesting experiment. I wouldn't expect it to be extremely successful in the long term, but
I wouldn't take on other people's kids because in this country it's ridiculously complicated, right? So, I mean, other people's kids can come if the other people's parents, their parents stick with them, because if you were to take other people's kids jogging, you'd probably have to sign the P65 form or whatever the number is that's that you have to sign to make sure that you don't molest the children or whatever, and so on and so forth.
Oh, it's just a way of
sign a form and pay
getting
insurance
people to
and
be nervous
weird
about
shit.
being normal and helping people. And
yeah,
doing
the thing
things.
is that it doesn't even prevent anything, right?
No, it doesn't. It just, it's not as if the number of child kidnappings have gone down dramatically because people are not taking pictures.
Yeah, exactly. or the amount of abuse of children has gone down dramatically or anything like that. Absolutely.
Yes, because a child is 80% more likely to be abused in a government institution than they are in their own home anyway. So
The only
it's all fantasy.
and at the same time, children are 80% more likely to be abused in their own home than they are out of their home.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like in the street or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this whole I have to sign this form to make sure that he's not registered as a registered sex offender. It's like okay, so maybe 1% of the actual sex offenders are registered as registered sex offenders, and so how's that going to help you, right?
Yeah, and a large
It's
number of
not.
people are abused by friends of the family anyway. So
Yes, this 90% of the abuse is happening by the parents, other family, extended family, or friends of the family.
That's of the 20% though, because the other 80% are in children's homes or whatever else, right? Okay, so when you say that, that's 90% of the 20%.
No. I mean 90% of all sexual abuse is done by either parents.
It can't be friends of the family because
or extended family, or friends of the family,
be if
or
you're in a
people in
children's home.
charge of the children, which means teachers.
Oh, okay, that's a big look. That's a big other category. Okay. Okay.
I'm talking. Can you
would-
just let me talk? 'Cause you're jumping into what I'm saying.
Sorry.
So 90% of abuse comes from people that are taking care of you and that you know as a kid, right? That you perceive that are in a position that should be perceived as a safe person, right? And that includes carers, whether it comes to the government, teachers and whatever, carers and nurseries and stuff, or coaches and trainers and people like that. So I'm putting it all into a group as, to compare the amount of abuse that comes from people that you know and you're supposed to trust as compared to the stranger danger. Somebody can kidnap you in the street and do something to you. So that's what I was comparing.
Yeah, and people's perception externally of how it is not how it works from what I've seen and learned as well. Like there's this perception that there's always strange men, but there's a higher probability that it's going to be a child that kidnaps a child or a woman than a man, just because these people are more trusting. What are you doing to your face?
I'm picking my lip.
What?
This is dry.
Please don't.
Does it disturb you?
It does. It looks like you're trying to pull your lip off your face, and
I'm trying to. It's
and
not working.
I'm imagining that
That it just comes off.
well, I'm imagining I've got this like picture in my head of some kind of wacky Looney Tunes cartoon thing where you just you pull your lip out in front of your face like 1 meter and then slap it back into place.
Doesn't
Cartoon,
work like that.
cartoon style.
Anyway, that's what I do when I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's because you don't have your phone to play with, because that annoys me as well. And now you're rapping on the cup. Always something. You know, it's probably that if you're made nervous by other people's actions, it probably says more about the person who's observing the actions and the person who's acting.
I don't know. Probably.
Or maybe not. There's something wrong with that piece of furniture.
What, the murder cabinet?
The horror chest.
A horror chest.
It's straight out of a horror movie. I swear that all horror movies have that
You know what's
kind of
wrong with
dressing
it?
table.
What's wrong with it is that the mirrors are facing the wrong way.
What do you mean the mirrors are
The
facing?
side mirrors.
Well, they're facing the side.
Yeah. Well, but they should be like that.
Excuse me?
But they should be like that.
But they're not fixed on wrong.
No,
they're
they're not. No, they're just closed.
They're
Or
just closed.
open, or whatever you call that position.
Folded back.
They should be like folded out so that the person that's looking in the mirror can see themselves from the sides as well.
Yeah, but they're sort of like folded back to less.
It
for
also
more
seems to me
space
that
to be less
it's.
obtrusive. No?
It also seems to be that it's a bit like leaning forward.
No, that's what I'm saying. It appears as if the top part is leaning forward and
Yeah.
the middle part is leaning backwards.
It's slightly balanced by.
It's almost got a personality.
Yeah, I think so. It's slightly balanced by the fact that the mirror is tipped backwards.
No,
Yeah,
it's
top
scary.
right.
It's scary. It's got
But
that
it looks
kinda
like.
carved top area, like
Yeah.
like you'd get in a
It-
scary movie.
It looks like an animal that's ready to pounce.
It looks like it could turn into something.
You know,
or
like
transform into. It looks like it's
you've
got a
got.
personality.
You know what a cat looks like when it's ready to pounce, right? It's like it like prepares its body and it's all leaning forward and it's like it's going to pounce at any minute.
It looks like he's
It's
gonna
like
eat you, basically.
It looks like any minute it's going
leaning
to
into the
it's going to
room.
come to life, and yeah, it's leaning into the room. It's going to come to life at any moment now, and it's going to open that top drawer and it's going to swallow you like that.
I hadn't quite imagined that scenario. But
Well, that's okay, but that's what's going to happen.
I can sort of imagine the side mirror sort of kind of flapping backwards and forwards. I can imagine it in sort of horror mode.
Yeah.
But really, it's straight out of some Victorian nightmarish scenario, or
At the same time, I like it.
some kind of film noir D. I don't know.
It's really weird because at the same time I like it, and it's strange that I like it because I don't usually like.
I know why you like it.
This kind of
It's got
thing.
a big mirror and you can look at yourself in the mirror.
The mirror is really nice though. I mean, it's a thoughtful mirror. See, it's got those.
What?
It's got those edges
What
around
the
it.
hell is a thoughtful mirror?
Well, look at it. That the mirror itself has got those edges around it that make it look a bit nicer than your usual mirror. I mean, if you just compare it to the old dresser that was there,
Mhm.
yeah, there was not much thought going into that, right?
I mean, it's well designed.
it's
Thought
not,
has gone into the design.
It's not odflaknute.
What does that mean?
Odflaknute means
Just made like that.
yeah,
Okay.
farted out without much thought.
Like the way most things are built, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody actually put thought into it to make it look nice. Doesn't that look nice? I don't like those handles too much, though.
Handles.
Yeah, the
What?
things
Oh, in the
that
drawers.
yeah.
Oh, I do. sort of makes it look even more scary.
I liked the ones on the old one. They were nicer.
Yeah.
These are a bit too complex for me, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not like they make it ugly. They're just... I'd prefer something simpler.
It's functional, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact it's got those little shelves on it, because it just...
No, I like the
It just
little
means that
shelves.
people put shit on the shelves, and there's
That's
more
why I
shit
like
there.
the shelves.
So you
So I can put
your
stuff on
shit
it. Yeah. I love those little shelves.
It's kind of a bit insane.
Who's coming? Someone's
Oh.
coming. It's early.
Good morning, Will.
Up in the morning early.
Up in the morning early. Up in the morning today for me. Yeah.
It must be winter. It's early.
Hey, did you have a bad dream? Did you have a good dream?
Did you have a
dream?
shower?
Did you dream? Did you
Ah.
do your morning exercises?
Did you stand on your head?
Yes.
I
Have you been to the toilet?
I literally almost couldn't sleep half the night.
Yeah, neither me.
Yes. We had
Neither could I, because the girls were shouting and calling me through to the room like a million times at night around 2 o'clock.
I never heard them.
and our pillows are
Mom,
uncomfortable.
I'm scared.
I was just trying to lie down in my bed and sleep,
Uh-huh.
but it never worked.
You know why?
I guess you were overexcited
You were
because of that
overexcited.
Xbox. How are your shoulders feeling today?
He's-
Your arms?
He's gonna be fine.
Fine.
See, I told you. It's perfectly normal.
Damn it, I
perfectly
bet £100.
Did you? Thank you for reminding me. I forgot. Okay. I thought it was 80.
Oh, well, it was 87.50.
Oh, okay.
It was 87.50.
That's weird. That's just weird.
Look at them.
Yes.
Straight to the drums. It's not a good idea to drum in the morning.
No.
Not in the
no.
morning early.
It's new for me.
It's a great poem. I love it.
It's not.
Can't wait to plug this up.
It's not.
I know. That would be so amazing if it works.
Plug it in rather than
this-
plug it up. What's up?
This is gonna be kind of hard to do because
Well, you're supposed to have a seat. I've
But
just
that's
said
what
to
you
them,
do.
You're
Yeah.
supposed to sit. Drummers have a little stool that they sit on when they drum.
They sit and they've got the pedals and they go.
She's obviously never played the drums before, so.
I have.
What?
I have.
When? Yesterday?
No. When I was young.
In the mists of ancient
Well,
history. Will,
17.
Stop making noises.
17. When I was 17, I played drums. It's a long time ago. They probably changed since then.
He's off. Where's he going? Where's he gone?
should I go switch on the lights in the living room?
Yeah, sure.
What?
Or open the blinds. That might help.
Yeah, that'll let all the cold in. That's a grand idea.
Oh, don't be a sissy.
He should go downstairs and have breakfast. That's what he should do. He's left the door open again.
We didn't have a shower.
Nothing annoys me more than people leaving doors open. Thank you. Will, go and have a shower, yeah?
And then go and have a breakfast.
Yeah. He didn't like that idea.
No, he doesn't like it because when he puts his clothes on, he gets up and he either goes to have a shower or he puts his clothes on, and once he puts his clothes on, he doesn't like to take them off again and have a shower and then put them on again. But that's his
He's
own
a
fault.
creature of habit. That's what it is.
He is an extreme creature of habit. He's like you.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's like almost autistic, right?
Thank you very much.
That's like
I border on the edge.
you need to have that habit, and if that doesn't happen, then you're like out of whack.
Yes. I've never thought of myself as bordering on autistic before.
I think that if you actually were diagnosed and tested, you'd probably be
They'd
surprised.
probably have me in a mental institution.
No, but I think that they would actually maybe put you on the spectrum. in this day and age?
Well, look, I don't have attention and I don't have the attention and focus problems. I don't.
You don't have to.
think. No.
It's not. It's not
Mm.
always connected to attention problems.
Well, the hyperactivity is part of it, but I think that people who are interested in
not.
things are naturally hyperactive about them.
It's not a part. Hyperactivity is actually not a part of the autistic spectrum. Well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. You see, it
It's
could
just people
be.
being interested in things, no?
It could be, for example,
To a certain extent.
sensory problems. Like, you could be
Hypersensitive, you mean?
to some of your senses can be either oversensitive or undersensitive to certain things.
Yeah, but is there a norm?
So it's like your hearing, for example. Yes, there is a norm. There is a norm. Like, people who are normal usually are not hypersensitive to, for example, visual stimulation, right? It's like your hypersensitivity to flashing lights and things like that. Or I'm not saying that means that you've got sensory processing problems. It's just an example. Or there is a norm and then there is a not norm, because people, the norm is when your usual environments don't represent a problem, right? And the thing that is not norm is that when usual situations that you get into can represent a problem for you. Like I don't know, like people with hearing sensitive problems could get too overwhelmed by noises or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't know.
Having preferences seems to be a disorder in the modern world, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that's where proper diagnosis comes into the picture, so that people understand that having preferences is actually not a disorder, that you actually have to fit into certain limits for it to be considered a disorder. Because if you try to diagnose yourself, then you can consider having preferences diagnosis just because I don't know, because you want to have a diagnosis, I suppose, because you want to have an answer to all your problems.
People want to give it a name and think because they give it a name they understand it.
So that's where I think that proper diagnostics comes into the picture, that can help you, tell you, well, okay, this is happening and this can help you, or this is not happening, it's completely normal and get over it. But in the end, it's all about just being able to listen to your body, isn't it? I think the diagnosis with the kids and maybe being on the spectrum, maybe the diagnosis is more to help the parents understand and help their children. Because when you're an adult, you kind of know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and you can sort of regulate, right? It's like if you're sensitive to something, then you know that you're not going to go there. And you know how to take care of yourself. But when you're a kid and you can't express yourself and your parents don't know why the hell you're freaking out, right? Mm-hmm. Then I think that it can help the parents understand what the problem is and help the child learn how to take care of themselves in those situations. I don't know. Maybe talking to Claire would be if you're more interested about it, because I know she's got experience. Because I think one of her daughters is on the spectrum.
I just think that a lot of kids are developing and they just need the space and time to develop in their own way, and that if you try to box them into certain activities or time frames, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. But I know that she told me that it really helped her as a mother and the main educator of her kids to learn that that her daughter was on the spectrum, because then she could work with that more, she could learn about it more, she got more information, she found out what works for her, what doesn't work for her. She knew how to approach things better, and she knew how to teach her daughter how to work with whatever, I don't want to say disadvantages or impairments, but whatever challenges she would face with the way she was, because it's a neurological, isn't it? It's not just a made up thing. It's actual neurological condition.
Oh, that's a complex statement, because you can argue that everything is a neurological condition, and you can argue about neurological and condition and so on. So it's, yeah.
What do you mean everything is a neurological condition? I don't understand that statement.
Well, all mental states are neurological conditions,
Mm,
good and bad. And you could argue
what
that
you mean,
everything is
like
a mental
just
state.
you mean like emotional states, or
Well,
what
that
you mean?
would be one, but yes, including those.
Well, no, because
No.
you either have the usual way of processing stimuli, or you have unusual way of processing stimuli.
Which are affected by your mental state, huh?
When you've got the usual way of processing stimuli and it's only affected by your mental state, then that's all right. But when you've got unusual way of processing stimuli, then yes, of course, it's also affected by your mental state. But it's not. It's physical. It's not just. It's not just emotional changes that change from day to day. I mean, if you get tested for autism today and then 2 days later you're in a different mental state, you're not going to test differently for autism. Do you understand? Just because today you're sad and in 2 days you're going to be happy, it's not going to influence your results.
Well, yeah, theoretically, if you have a good scientific system of measurement, that would be correct, because you should, in general, get the same results.
I mean,
unless
I
something has
know
changed.
that there is a lot of misdiagnosis going on, and that there's a lot of, oh my gosh, this child is hyperactive and we have to put him on the Ritalin type thing going on, which is obviously completely wrong and should be happening. And a lot of it is because children are put in an environment which is unnatural for them, such as school, right? And in Britain, they expect 4-year-old children to sit on their asses for 40 minutes or whatever, and work at a freaking workbook, which is like ridiculous, right? So yeah, of course, there's a lot of unnecessary labeling going on, but I think that a lot of the as long as the stuff is diagnosed correctly and properly, and because there is actually such a thing as ADHD, which is neurological and physical, and you can't change it just by changing the diet. Of course, you can influence it, but it's real, right? It exists. It's not a made-up thing. Then I know that it is extremely helpful for the parents to have it diagnosed, and because it gives them more information and they know more, they can learn from experiences of other people and learn what works better with children who have this challenge in their life. I don't know. I talked to our friend about it, who's got one daughter on the spectrum, I think, and I think she said that her husband was as well, and she said that it cleared up a lot of things and helped her understand both of them much more on a deeper level. So,
Well, as long as you're working with natural therapies as opposed to unnatural therapies,
yeah,
because when you start medicating, then you end up having to also medicate the side effects of the
Yeah,
the
the side
medication.
effects can be really bad sometimes with those medications. So I've heard a lot of it can be influenced by food. There's a lot of kids that the keto diet helped because without the spikes of insulin in your
Mhm.
blood, they found it easier to control their own behavior because it's the insulin spikes that it's the sugar spikes that often cause the problems. Not cause the problems, but fuel, the problematic behaviors. And
Yeah,
if you
or
remove
it's
that from the diet, it's easier to control. Apparently, so they say. I don't know. I don't have a first-hand experience.
yeah, it's it's the planning and organization of the diet correctly. It's giving the right rewards and incentives, and
Yeah.
I was surprised that the kids didn't eat the cake after dinner yesterday.
I'm surprised as well because it's a bloody good cake.
No, it was a good cake, and they just decided that they didn't want
That's
it.
my favorite cake. I loved it as a kid. It's the molehill cake.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Officially, the molehill
yeah.
cake.
That's called kurtkova torta.
That's a really, really. That what's the word when the name is not good for the thing? Must be a name.
Misnomer.
I don't know.
No.
No, it's
No.
it's just not very. It's not an
Appetizing.
aesthetic name.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Does
not.
that exist?
It's the mole's cake actually. Kurtkova torta.
Yeah, that's a silly name. Why can't
The
they? Why
mole's
can't
cake.
you got to call it like
The hill of goodness.
I don't know. No, I
A
don't know.
pile of yum.
Queen's chocolate topped creamy surprise. I don't know. That's that's all.
You're so British, you have to put
that's
queen
silly.
into it.
It has to be the word chocolate. Classic chocolate cream mid veil cake. I don't know. I
Look,
can't
when
think
you
of
see
the
it
name
today,
right now.
you'll understand why they call it a molehill cake.
No, I understand why they call it that. It's just not. It's just like, oh, I'd love to have some molehill cake today. It just doesn't sound right, Where if you said I'd like to have some Queen's buns or I don't
I don't want to have Queen's buns, thank you very much.
like or hot cross buns, right? So that kind of sounds nice. If they were
Uh-huh.
called mole's buns
Yeah, that just sounds disgusting. You
or
just
granny's
imagine,
buns
Yeah.
or something.
you just imagine the
You
like
just
the
would-
skin tag type of mole, the black stuff that grows on your face.
Well, look, it's just not a good word to use. Heaped pudding cake or something like that would be
Uh-huh.
would be a relatively good name for it. Or
I would just call it a pile of stuff.
uh,
It's good marketing. A pile of stuff.
Happy Hill cake.
That's in my alternative life,
What?
if I had like a parallel reality and I could just like Flashpoint, if I could just
What?
you haven't
What?
watched Flash. If I
What?
could just create
I
a
would have to
parallel,
loop.
if I could just create a parallel reality where I would at one point in time decide to do a different life decision and just go in a parallel, kind of lifeline timeline. Yeah, I would be
What?
I would be a baker because I really like
A
that.
baker.
Uh-huh. I was like, like you consider other things that you might like a personal trainer, nah, a yoga teacher, nah. So all these things like look cool, but I don't think I would enjoy them. But I think a baker, I would enjoy being a baker. I would enjoy being a baker,
You'd
but
enjoy eating.
not in a big bakery that does buns and things, boring stuff like that. But I would really enjoy
Buns are boring.
doing desserts like these the house desserts, the homemade branded good stuff, handmade shit and
What?
deliver them to like coffee houses and stuff. You know, fresh cakes.
Fresh cakes.
Fresh cakes. Not a big bakery that delivers to like the whole region of modern Scotland or whatever. But small, you know,
Small local bakery.
small local cake maker. I'd like that. Be a small local cake maker and make cakes for coffee houses and make cakes for weddings and other things like that. And they would all be really good quality and really good looking and very tasty and all clean natural ingredients and that would be a life. I think I would enjoy that. I think I would also in that alternative reality be extremely fat.
In the perfect world, right?
No, in the flashpoint in the new timeline. I would be extremely
Oh,
fat.
you'd have to spend all your time tasting
I would
cakes.
taste the cake. Oh God! Can you imagine? That'd be nice. And I'd do those things like, you know, like you got a cake and then you like shave exactly 4 shavings of chocolate on top and then arrange a little mint leaf there and arrange like 2 raspberries there and you have to pick the most beautiful looking from the whole packet and just arrange them there exactly and it'd just be like little pieces of art that taste beautiful.
Yeah, it would be art that very few people appreciate, because
Oh, I think they would appreciate it. Their stomachs would
'Cause-
appreciate it.
it would just be scoffed.
No, you don't
instantly.
understand. They'd be appreciated on more levels. It's like we go to the gallery and you appreciate art. You only appreciate it with your eyes. But my art would be appreciated with your eyes and with your noses and with your mouths and you know. It'd be
The only thing you wouldn't be able to do is listen to it.
deeper appreciated. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to listen to it. You'd only be able to listen to
And
the
you could call it the deeper
scoff
appreciation cake.
yeah, absolutely. Listen to the burps
What?
after they eat it.
That's disgusting.
I know. People are disgusting. Oh,
Oh, how's it going, mate?
he's all freshened up.
You had your shower. I can see that. What's the story? Morning glory.
That was a hot shower.
Good. Was it good?
So far, yes.
Did it feel good?
Can't wait to get drumming.
So far,
You can't wait to get drumming.
he's insane about his drumming.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it's a healthy activity, I suppose.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's
Putting on some music on Google and drumming to it over there.
Na, 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 na. You can't drum yet because everybody's sleeping. But you can have a breakfast downstairs. You can have muesli.
You can imagine.
Oh, wait,
drumming
it's
while you have
Sunday.
breakfast.
Cornflake Sunday.
There you go. Happy man.
Happy man, Cornflake Sunday.
Can't wait to see what we'll end up playing on the Xbox today.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
that comes after all the other elements of Jazz's birthday.
Yeah,
and,
that'll be the.
We have to go outside for a while today as well. Go for a walk, because
Sounds like a good idea.
need to
I
get
also
some
have a
fresh
lot
air.
of work today to do.
Oh, this isn't good.
What?
My sock got caught on the nail.
Yeah, he's stuck. He's stuck to the door.
Oops.
We just have to stay there forever, Will.
Got myself unstuck.
Oh, that's
Good.
That's grand.
Enjoy your breakfast.
I hope we'll end up playing Just Dance for the party game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Oh,
Dance
sure.
is great. We're gonna get Babka moving.
No, she'd probably break her hip again. That wouldn't be good.
She didn't break it. She had it. She can't break it. It's titanium. You can't break a titanium hip.
just,
Can you?
Probably not. Probably not. When they turn old people into RoboCop,
Gosh,
you have to wonder about
she's
that.
like a cyborg. Your parents are both like cyborgs, right? Because your
Um,
dad's got that valve. Your dad's got that ticking. He's
my
like
dad
the.
is Darth Vader, and
Your dad's like the crocodile that
my
ate the
mother
clock.
is RoboCop.
I always thought your dad was like the crocodile that ate the clock because
But
when
the,
it's
the Peter Pan. thing.
yeah, because when it's quiet enough, you can hear his heart ticking. You can hear his. Did you hear it? Did you ever actually hear it? I could hear.
Can you
his
not hear the valve
Yeah,
thing? So the
yeah,
valve
yeah, yeah.
thing
You can hear the valve ticking.
Doesn't tick, does it? It just kind of opens and closes. No.
It does. Well, it makes the ticking sound when it does that. So
That
that's
can't be good for the body.
that's why I always thought. Well, he's alive, right?
Sorry.
It's got to be good for the body, seeing as he's alive.
Who knows? Who knows? Your heart's beating.
She says her heart's not beating. Must be because you're
Good
4.
morning.
Good morning and happy birthday.
to you.
4-year-old girl.
Going back to sleep now.
She was born at 12 o'clock, wasn't she?
Well, she remember that.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
was
remember.
born at
What the
lunchtime.
time?
Yeah. We got up early in the morning to go.
What? What?
Mom, you forgot to make my cake.
I didn't forget.
No, she didn't forget to make a cake for you.
Your
Yes.
cake is ready and waiting for you, darling. But first we'll have breakfast all together, okay? And then we can have the cake in the bank.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to sleep.
Anyway, yeah.
That's so funny. She just woke up and said, "You forgot about my cake." No.
Oh, I can feel my tricep from yesterday. Milk. It's next to your bed.
Milk.
Do you want me to go and get it for you? Okay.
What? Might be time to get up and go and do some stuff, actually.
We're gonna finish then.
It's time to do stuff because everything's
So,
running late
yeah.
and later. and
Okay,
even
well
later.
then maybe we
And
should
the
say
sun is up,
bye-bye.
and it's a kind of winter sky of light blues and
Things.
white, white fluffiness with
Yeah.
yellow brightness eking through the silhouette of trees. I just made up a word.
I heard that. Yes.
I just made up a word.
Eking.
Yes.
Eking. It's like peeking.
Oh no, that's a place in China.
Oh God.
What?
Right. Okay. Let's get moving because there's a beach right next to my bed.
There's. Yeah, don't stand on the beach.
I've got rock. The girls threw rocks all over the ground right next to my bed, so that when I get up, I get a nice foot massage.
And
It was so funny when Jasmine played with the rocks last night. She was making up a whole story about a family, and she had like these family members meeting up and talking to each other. And then I looked over the edge of the bed and realized that she's playing with rocks. She doesn't even need dolls or anything like that.
No,
Right.
kids don't
Just
need
play
any
with
of that
rocks.
stuff. It gets in the way. Gets in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
The sun is rising right in front of me. It's very nice.
Yes.
It's very blinding.
I need to let go of this torture device that's torturing my ears and go get more coffee or something. I'm so hungry.
Oh, look who's up.
I think I need bacon. Jazz, I think I need bacon. Do you need bacon?
Jazz and Matez. Jazz needs sleep.
Well, so do I, but I think I need bacon more.
What?
Bacon. I need bacon.
You're dreaming of bacon.
I'm so hungry.
That's-
I told you I haven't eaten properly for 2 days.
Oh, I didn't eat properly yesterday because I couldn't, and today I just don't feel like eating at all.
Yes,
the less
darling?
I eat, the less I want to eat.
Nice dream.
Super.
Yeah. What kind of dream did you have?
Like a video.
Like a video?
Like
Like a game about, I don't know. Okay, that's fine.
That's cool. I have those as well.
Okay, guys.
I have those
Okay, I'm
dreams.
taking this off. Bye bye, everyone.
You're off to see the wizard. The wonderful Wizard of Oz. All because. You're stretching now and making those morning noises. Morning noises. You feel your ass? That's weird. Yeah, whatever. Right, I have to say bye. Hey Jazz, do you want to say bye to the world? Say goodbye. No, she's looking at me like, what are you talking about, Dad? It's just me and you. And Mum.
And her headphones.
I love your t-shirt, Jazz. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuddles.
Cuddly. Oh, she's in the mood. She's in the mood. Okay, well, goodbye. Goodbye, world. That's it. Done. Did. Done.